In this house, there are two wives. One is loved loudly. The other is endured quietly. And this Ramadan, everything they pretended wasn't there started to surface. Zainab, the first wife. She was there when there was nothing. When Al-Haji had one car that barely started. When they ate Gary and counted their blessings. She built this life with him. Brick by brick. Prayer by prayer. And then there is Aisha. She came when the house was already furnished. When the struggle was already over. She is not the villain of this story. But she is living a comfort that she did not build. Every morning of their marriage. Before the sun considered rising. Before anyone else opened their eyes. Zainab was already standing. She moves between the stove and the counter with the quiet efficiency of a woman who has done this 10,000 times. She tastes the soup. Adjusts. Stirs again. Checks the time. No one taught her to do this. No one asked her to. She simply decided, a long time ago, that this family would always eat well. Even if she was the last one to sit down. Even if she was the last one anyone thought about. Al-Haji enters, dressed, glancing at his phone. He sits at the head of the table without looking up. He said, "Is my food ready?" Zainab answered him, "Almost ready." 2 words she has said 1,000 mornings. And 1,000 mornings. Nobody said, "Take your time." Aisha had not cooked a single thing. But watch what happens next. Watch very carefully. Al-Haji looks up from his phone, and his whole face changes. He said, "Aisha. Come, sit down." He pulls out her chair. 23 years. Zainab has been in this house for 23 years. And not once has anyone pulled out her chair. Zainab sets the food on the table. Quietly. Carefully. She sits down last. She serves herself last. She eats last. The most painful thing about being taken for granted is not the big moments. It is the small ones. A chair not pulled out. A name not called warmly. A smile that was never yours. Day after day. Year after year. Until a woman stops expecting. And just endures.
There is a word in Islam. ADL. It means justice. Fairness. When a man takes a second wife, Islam does not just permit it, it demands fairness. Equal nights. Equal provision. Equal dignity. Not almost equal. Not equal when it's convenient. Equal. In this house. That word had become decoration. Something Al-Haji quoted to others. But had stopped applying to himself.
Every Friday. Without fail. Al-Haji Musa is here. Front row. Of course. A man of his standing does not sit at the back. And look at him. Really look. He is not performing. He genuinely means every word. Every bow. Every prostration. And this is where it gets complicated. Men move toward him. Handshakes. Warm smiles. Pats on the shoulder. Because the same man who did not pull out Zainab's chair this morning, who smiled at Aisha and looked through his first wife like glass, that same man is the most respected person in this room. And they mean it. Every single one of them. They are not flattering him. They genuinely believe what they are saying. And so does he. That is the part that stays with you. That is the part that is so difficult to sit with. He is not a monster. Monsters are easy. Monsters you can point at. Monsters you can walk away from. Alhaji Musa is something far more complicated than a monster. He is a good man. A praying man. A giving man. A man who would help his neighbor without being asked. A man who would never raise his hand to anyone. A man who genuinely loves Allah. And yet, at home, right now, while he stands here receiving duas and handshakes, there is a woman sitting in a kitchen, still cleaning up after everyone, still serving, still invisible. And he has not once today asked her how she is. The most dangerous kind of wrongdoing is the kind a good person does. Because a good person never suspects himself. A good person has too many witnesses to his goodness to notice the one person he is failing. He sleeps well at night. That is how you know. He hasn't seen it yet. She cooked for everyone today. She served everyone today. She smiled when she needed to smile. She stayed quiet when staying quiet was safer. And now, when the house is full but she is completely alone, she goes to the only place that has never turned her away. She is not asking for revenge. She is not asking for him to love Aisha less. She is asking for something far simpler and far more heartbreaking. She is asking for the strength to keep going. 23 years in this house. And the most honest conversation she has is the one no one else can hear. Aisha is not evil. She is young. She is human. She wants to be loved. She did not create this situation. But she has never once asked, is she okay? What is she carrying? Does she eat before she serves everyone else? That question has never occurred to her. And that is its own kind of blindness. She has been in this kitchen since afternoon. Zainab moves between the stove and the counter, while others rested. She was chopping, while others napped. She was stirring, while others refreshed themselves for the evening. She was sweating over a pot, making sure that when this family broke their fast, they would break it well. Look at this table. Really look at it. Every single thing on it has her hands on it. Every single thing. And now she sits too. Last. As always. After everyone is comfortable. After everyone is served. After everyone has everything they need. Then, she sits. He is speaking to her. Smiling at her. The way a man smiles at someone whose presence still excites him. And at the same table sits the woman who cooked everything he is eating, looking down at her plate. Quietly. The way she always does. That moment. Right there. That tiny tightening of her jaw. That is not anger. That is not bitterness. That is a woman who has swallowed so much for so long that even her body has learned how to hide what she feels. They are all at the same table, breaking the same fast, under the same roof, saying the same Bismillah. But not everyone at this table is eating the same meal. Some are eating food, and one is eating silence. Mama Halima did not come to fight. She did not come to cause trouble. She came because she is the kind of woman who still believes that truth spoken with love can change a person. She looks at Alhaji directly. Not with anger. With something older than anger. She has been watching this house. The way older women watch things. Quietly. Carefully. From the corner of the room. Seeing everything that everyone else pretends not to see. He respects her. That much is true. He will listen. He will nod. He will say the right things. But there is a difference between a man who listens and a man who hears. She tells him to fear Allah. Not as a threat. Not as a lecture. The way a mother says it to a son she still believes in. The way someone says it when they genuinely do not want to see you fall. She reminds him that Zainab is his wife. Not his housekeeper. Not his shadow. Not a piece of furniture that has always been there. So you stop noticing it. His wife. A woman with a heart. A woman who feels. A woman who has been quietly bleeding. In a house that does not notice the blood. And this is the part that is hard to watch. Because he is not dismissing her. He is not offended. He genuinely respects what she is saying. He will think about it. He will probably even feel something about it tonight. But tomorrow morning, Zainab will still wake up first. And nobody will pull out her chair. She has done what she came to do. She planted the seed. Whether it grows is no longer in her hands. Ramadan has a way of doing this. You fast from food, and suddenly, other hungers become visible. The hunger for things you have ignored. The hunger of people you have failed. He could not sleep. Not because the night was uncomfortable, but because his conscience had finally found its voice. And it was asking him a question he had avoided for years. Musa, are you the man you tell yourself you are? He couldn't sleep. He had been lying there for over an hour. Turning. Adjusting. Staring at the ceiling. The bed was soft. The room was cool. Everything was comfortable. And yet, he wasn't looking for anything. He was just a restless man walking through his own house at midnight. That is all. That is all this was supposed to be. The kitchen light was on. At this hour. Of course it was. And this is the Zainab nobody sees. Not the Zainab who smiles when she has to. Not the Zainab who says I'm fine and means something else entirely. This is the real one. Moving through this kitchen at midnight. Tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. Serving a family that has confused her reliability for inexhaustibility. That moment right there. That is not a woman who is fine. That is a woman running on empty. Who has forgotten what full even feels like. That is a woman who has given so much for so long. That her body is now sending messages. That her mouth will never say out loud. Did you see how fast she did that? How practiced that was. That is not something you learn overnight. That is years of training yourself. To make other people comfortable with your discomfort. To protect everyone else from what you are actually carrying. And something happened to him in that moment. Something quiet. Something that did not announce itself. It was not a lightning bolt. It was not a dramatic revelation. It was something smaller and more devastating than that. It was simply seeing. For the first time in years. Alhaji Musa looked at his wife. Not through her. Not past her. At her. And what came over him was not pity. Pity looks down. What he felt was something that looks straight across. Eye to eye. Heart to heart. It was shame. He didn't say anything grand. He didn't make a speech. He just sat down. In her space. At her hour. In the place where she has always been alone. She doesn't know what this means. She doesn't trust it yet. And honestly, she shouldn't. Not yet. One moment does not undo 23 years. One chair does not replace all the chairs that were never pulled out. But it is a beginning. They say Ramadan is the month of mercy. But mercy must begin somewhere. It must begin with someone deciding to see. And sometimes, It takes almost losing something to finally understand its worth.